Imagine a disease so powerful it erased half the people you know and left the other half wondering if they'd be next. Now imagine waking up in the middle of it. No phone, no medicine, no understanding of germs. Just fire, dirt, bloodletting, and prayers. This isn't fiction, it's real history. 1348 to be exact. The Black Death, the year the whole world ... decade. And tonight you don't read about it, you live inside it. And I hope you're ready. Because once you open your eyes, the church bells start ringing, and they don't stop. By the way, if these strange little time machines work for you, hit subscribe. And let me know in the comments, what would you even do if you woke up in 1348? Someone last week said they watched while cooking onions. I can't prove that cured the plague, but hey, bonus garlic protection. Okay, here we go. You wake up and immediately regret it, your back is on fire. Not a literal fire, that would be warm at least. It's the cold. A kind of cold that doesn't just sit on your skin but moves through you, like it's hunting your bones. Your mattress is a sack of straw. Some of it has poked through, stabbing your shoulder. You shift, it crackles loudly. Dust rises. Your pillow is damp, it smells like wet hay and thyme. You blink, you're not in your bed, you're not in your apartment. You're in a box made of wood and dirt. No light bulbs, no LED glow. Only pale gray morning leaking through holes in a wooden wall. There's no heating, no window glass, no phone under your pillow. Just the smell of smoke, ash, and something you can't quite place. Something rotten, maybe. Or maybe it's just the blanket. Congratulations, you've just woken up in 1348. You sit up, that was a mistake. Your head hits a beam overhead, hard, scratchy, tight, and damp in all the wrong places. You smell, not good. You grunt, and hear something skitter in the straw near your feet. A rat? Probably. You hope that's all it is. The world smells like fire and farm animals. Mostly the animals. Your clothes aren't yours? You're wearing something that feels like burlap? Your hands are rough and blistered? When did that happen? You push open a warped wooden door and nearly fall outside. A fog sits low on the village, mud everywhere. You don't understand what she's saying, but you nod politely. Chickens wander through it like ghosts. Somewhere in the distance, a man coughs so deeply it sounds like he's dying. Maybe he is. There's no sound of traffic, no people scrolling phones. Just the creak of wagon wheels a mile off, a dog barking. A baby crying and bells, faint church bells, one long ring. Welcome to medieval Europe. You start to walk. Or rather, your feet take you somewhere. You're not really in control. It's like your body already knows the way. The mud is cold, gritty, soft in some places, and frozen in others. You nearly slip stepping over a puddle that's both water and worse. You're barefoot. A woman calls out to you. You feel like maybe you were supposed to understand her. Your mouth says, I'll be there now, before you can stop it. What? Who said that? Why did your voice sound like that? Something is wrong. Not just the place, not just the time. You are wrong. You don't belong here. But your mind, your body, your voice acts like you do, and the worst part, no one notices. You've read the books, or at least the Wikipedia article. The village is awake now. Men with deep lines on their faces repair carts or chop wood. A boy chases a goose, a church, some sheep. A woman sweeps mud out of her doorway with a bunch of sticks tied together. The mud goes nowhere, but she still does it. Your teeth are cold in your own mouth? You miss toothpaste. Badly. You see a woman spitting into her hand and rubbing it on her child's face to clean him. You stare. She stares back. You look down and keep walking. Then it hits you, hard. You know the history. You know what year this is. The Black Death is almost here. You look around this village. Maybe 80 people total, a few dozen homes within months. More than half of these people will be dead. They don't know it. But you do, and you're one of them. Unless you figure out how to survive. But first, you'll need to understand how this world works. You have no rights, no money, no soap. No real idea where or when exactly you are. No friends, no future, just your own body. And a plague that's already on its way. Welcome to 1348. Try not to die. You wake up hungry, not snack hungry, not What's for breakfast? Hungry, real old world hunger. The kind that rises from silence and has no end. You sit up slowly. Last night's cold is still in your bones. Your back aches from the hard straw mattress. You press your hand to your belly, but there's nothing to press for. Outside, the air is foggy again. The sky is the same old gray as yesterday. You try to remember what people eat in a world without stores, cafes, or delivery apps. All you see is mud, smoke trails, and a world that looks like it's been forgotten by time. Near the fire pit, a woman hands you something hard, a crust of bread. It's rough, dense, dry as sand. There's no milk, no butter, no tea. Just this and a bowl of what you hope is soup. The contents are murky, thick, and warm. You don't ask questions. You just eat. In 1348, food isn't a choice, it's a prize. You live to earn it, you work to keep it. The village begins to stir. People are already carrying buckets, chopping wood, scrubbing clothes in brown water. Even the children are working, some hauling wood, others herding geese. You pull your cloak tighter, not for warmth, but because the wind bites every inch of skin it finds. Not loudly, just enough to remind you the chapel needs filling. A bell rings once. Your legs carry you with the others, lit with thin candles and the smell of wax and old wood. The chapel is dim, cold. Everyone knows the routine, when to kneel, when to mumble, when to nod. You don't know the words, but your mouth moves anyway. Your hands cross your chest, your head bows. Something in you knows this routine by instinct or memory or something stranger. The service ends, no loud talking. Just shuffling feet back into the mist. His hands are cracked, red, tough, but his voice is kind. You help a man carry hay. He doesn't ask where you're from. He just works like everyone else. Hours pass slowly, measured by light and shadow, not by clocks. There are no breaks rooms, no breaks at all, but no one complains. Work is what life is made of now. You carry water in a wooden pail. The handle digs into your fingers. You try not to spill it on your feet. The mud is already knee-deep in some places. You help bundle mint and herbs in someone's home. They gift you a boiled egg so small it fits in your palm. It tastes metallic but warm. Just corners, bush, small pits. You are grateful. Later, you pass a woman scrubbing a child's face with cloth and water that looks ... reused. You don't stare, but the image burns itself into your mind anyway. There's no privacy. No clean bathroom. People learn to look away and say nothing. You notice the smell more now, not loud, but always there. It's in the air, in the straw, in the sweat of work, and in the food's steam. The sun begins to drop. Shadows stretch long between stone walls and wooden doors. The fire is lit again. A small circle of warmth in a cold world. You sit with others. They speak in low voices, in half sentences, using words you half recognize. They talk about rain, about a man 2 villages over falling ill, about trade ships that no longer come. No one says more, but everyone listens, a bit too carefully. You watch the fire, a few logs, cracks in the flames, smoke curling up slowly toward the black sky. It doesn't heat much, but it's enough to pretend. Your hands are cracked now too. Your shoulders sore, your mind numb, but a new thought fights its way through. A whisper at the edge of all things. Is this it? Life in 1348? Nothing fast. Nothing clean, just cold, work, hunger, and waiting. And inside that waiting, something darker grows. You can feel it. So can they? Nobody says the words, but they know it's near. And you do too. At first, it's just a whisper. A traveler at the market says a port city down south has closed its gates. A sickness? He mumbles. A bad one. People laugh. Everyone hears stories. Too much rain? A punishment from God? This will pass, they say. But it doesn't. A week passes. Someone else speaks of ships, full of the dead. Dock workers in Genoa collapsed unloading boats. Merchants growing sick before they can sell. They didn't look wounded, one man says. They just turned black. No one knows what he means. You busy yourself with chores, hauling buckets, sweeping a chapel floor, but the whisper doesn't go away. More travelers arrive from Avignon, from Venice. They speak softly, but the stories are louder than any bell tower. People dying in their sleep, or coughing until it's blood. Priests too afraid to offer last rites. One traveler swears the Pope lit fires on every wall of his room just to stay alive. Another says entire monasteries now sit silent. Someone starts coughing in your village. It's nothing, they say, but it keeps going. By morning, the coughing spreads. And then someone starts to burn with fever. Not just warmth, but heat that warps the air above their skin. Whispers grow louder. Fleas from rats, one man swears, though few know what fleas are. Evil smell in the air, says another. One woman sniffs and crosses herself twice, like smell could carry sin. People talk about comets. About the alignment of Saturn and Mars. Some say the Jews have poisoned the wells. Others say we are being punished. Again, no one agrees. But everyone's afraid. At night, people pray harder. Candles burn lower. Children are told stories of angels and demons. Two men fight in the night. One blames the other for bringing the sickness from another village. The baker boards up his windows. The chapel runs out of incense. The priest leads a procession through the village burning herbs, chanting, trying to push back whatever is coming. Nothing happens. Days later, a body is found behind a cottage. It's someone you know, but very little of them is left. Their skin is dark around the mouth. Their neck is swollen into strange lumps. Their eyes are half open, like they were waiting for something that never came. No one sings. No one carries the body with care. They bury it outside the cemetery wall and leave a wooden marker. With no name, now no one sleeps properly. You hear the whispers in every breath, every cough, every closed door. People who were loud keep quiet. People who laughed don't laugh anymore. Someone packs a cart and leaves. Another kneels in the middle of the square, alone, facing the wind. The dogs disappear, the children stop running, and you feel something in your throat that might just be thirst. You shake it off. But it's there. Congratulations, you've lived long enough to see the very beginning of the end. The plague is not near anymore. It's here. At first, the sickness doesn't look much different than a cold, a cough, tired eyes, a skipped meal. Nothing strange for this time of year. But by the second day, someone's missing from breakfast. You hear whispers. She won't get out of bed. She can't eat, she barely drinks. No one will say what they're thinking. You walk past her home that afternoon and see a cloth tied to the door handle. A signal. Do not enter. No one does. Inside, you hear nothing but the sound of slow breathing. The room smells of vinegar and sweat. Someone mumbles a prayer from behind the wall. Or maybe it's just you? By morning, she's gone. There's no funeral. No priest, just two neighbors wrapping her in a sheet and carrying her toward the field. Not to the graveyard. Even they're scared now. They bury her behind a fence post without words and hurry away. Everything in the village is quieter after that. No one jokes, no one sings. Work still goes on. You still sweep the chapel steps, but people don't look one another in the eye anymore. You feel the silence pressing in like fog. Then another one doesn't wake up. Then another. Now, the fear changes. It becomes routine, expected. No longer who, but when. Each day brings more stories. A friend hiding fever, a boy gone pale. A woman with lumps beneath her skin, swelling in unnatural shapes, darkened at the edges. One on the neck, one in the arm. You don't look too long. The carts begin arriving, wooden wagons pulled by tired hands. No one touches the bodies with bare skin. They leave them wrapped and walk away fast. The chapel burns incense all day. It does nothing. The priest has stopped offering comfort. He gave his last sermon with trembling lips, then vanished into his room. There are no confessions now, only questions no one wants answered. You're drinking less water, eating almost nothing, pretending not to notice the ache in your shoulder, the heat in your face, the scratch in your throat. You look in the polished bowl one morning and study your eyes. Are they duller, more sunken, or are you just imagining things? The village doctor, if you can call him that, offers herbs, prayers, red ribbons. He stays far away. Even he seems pale now. Someone says to carry garlic in your pocket. Someone says to burn lavender. Someone says to confess your sins and abandon your belongings. Someone says none of this matters. Another cart rolls through the square. It's full. No names are spoken anymore. No bells ring for the dead. They are simply taken and left in the ground. They don't talk to each other. They barely look. You watch through a window as the gravediggers use long shovels. You hear coughing on the other side of the street. You turn your face. You walk the other direction. Everyone does. At night, you lie still on your straw bed, afraid to breathe too deeply, afraid of what tomorrow might bring. The fire burns lower now. There's less wood, fewer hands to chop it. You pull the blanket tightly and close your eyes. But sleep does not come. Only the sound of rustling and breaths that are not yours. And you wonder, maybe this is it. Maybe you're next. But until then, you wait, with your eyes open and your heart racing beneath your ribs. It's harder to pray now, not because people forgot the words, but because the silence afterward feels heavier than it used to. They still kneel. They still whisper old lines and light their candles, but none of them are sure what they expect anymore. There's no lightning strike, no voice from the heavens, no wind of mercy. There's only quiet and coughing and earth. Someone faints during a church service. Nobody goes near him. When he's carried out, the sermon simply continues. Everyone acts like it didn't happen, no explanation. One day they're sweeping mud from their steps. The next, their door is shut with wood nailed across it. No one checks inside, because no one wants to ask if they might be next. Another person disappears from their home. People turn to new answers, strange ones. One family coats their doorway in vinegar and draws chalk symbols on the wall. Nobody knows what they mean. A woman hangs bundles of garlic on her door to ward off evil air, and backs away from anyone who speaks. Children wear flowers tied to belts to protect their skin. One man keeps a dead toad in his pocket, says it draws out sickness from the blood. Someone begins selling tiny stones he calls plague pearls. There are too many to bury one by one. He claims they come from Italy and protect against rats. They're just pebbles. People buy them anyway. People burn rosemary in old shoes. Someone else says it's the end of the world and nothing will help now. You see a teenager coughing into a scarf soaked in wine. She's trying to breathe through it. 1 minute she's in the square. 2 days later she's gone. He follows for a moment, whispering, but then lets go when you don't stop. Even the priest looks different now. He opens the church only at midday. He wraps a rag around his nose, lights incense at the door. His voice shakes when he talks about hope. Some leave, some lock themselves in. Some die, most aren't signed, and when he finishes, he doesn't bless the crowd. He just leaves fewer voices. One morning, you walk past the edge of the village and see smoke rising. They're burning bodies now. Others simply sit outside and stare at nothing for hours. You stop asking if they're okay. Later, they burn clothes, beds, homes. Nothing is considered safe anymore. A house where someone died is now a fire. They say the sickness lives in the walls. You haven't eaten a full meal in longer than you can remember. The air always feels heavy now, like it's pressing into your skin. Someone starts a rumor that the stars are to blame. Another blames poisoned air. Another says it's punishment for sins, broken up by sounds you can't place. Nobody agrees on the truth, but nobody argues either. A man ties a red ribbon around your wrist as you pass. He says it helped his cousin. You keep walking. People are writing notes now. Confessions, prayers, last words, they bury them in jars near their homes. Entire families disappear overnight. Everyone is talking less. At night, you hear fewer footsteps, fewer fires crackling. There's no one left to light every flame. Some walk around whispering to themselves. Because the truth is, they're not. And neither are you. You haven't seen your reflection in days. Your heart races at night for no clear reason. Your legs ache from simple walking. Your dreams are unclear, and somehow you're one of the lucky ones, because you're still here. For now, even hope has gone quiet, and all that's left is waiting. You sit in front of a cold fire, watching the wind press shadows against the wall. You don't speak. You barely move. And outside, the smoke rises again. Another home is gone. You wake up slower than usual. Everything feels heavy. Not just your body, your thoughts, your breath, your skin. You're colder than you should be. You sit up, bracing your arms for warmth, but they don't move quickly. It's as if everything inside you needs convincing. You tell yourself it's just hunger or another cold morning. You whisper it out loud, hoping the words sound more certain than you feel. But every movement makes your chest rise with effort. Everyone coughs here. The air is dirty. The fire's smoke. You touch your face. You sweep. You stare at the floor, wondering how many others are sitting in their homes right now, wondering the same things. People in your village don't always tell others when they feel ill. Because if they do, someone might hammer their door shut from the outside. You've seen it happen. You don't want that. You wake. You freeze. But then again, maybe it's only in your head. Telling someone makes it real. Saying the word out loud means losing the last little hope. Just like the last few times, you say nothing, you don't answer any knocks. You don't open the door. You don't move until the silence comes back. Maybe you just needed rest. You think you're overreacting. You smile. You sleep again. Time disappears. Light shifts on the walls, but you don't remember the hours moving. You cough again. You touch your throat. You press your fingers into your neck again, still searching. You breathe in the smoke as if it could push the sickness back down, straight, silent. Waiting. You've done all you can for now. You adjust your clothes 5 times in 1 hour, trying to get warm. It doesn't work. Then suddenly, you feel fine. You find a small bump, but don't press too hard. You convince yourself it's part of your own body, something that's always been there. Maybe it has. Maybe it hasn't. You don't check again. No blood. That should mean you're safe, but you don't feel safe. You need more time. How many are lying about what they feel? You wipe your forehead, pretending you didn't notice. You press your chest and try to breathe deeper. It works, but not freely. Not naturally. You move a pot. Still, doubt presses in. You've seen this story already. It never starts loud. Just a little warmth, a little silence, a little slowness. You rearrange dry herbs on the table, anything to appear normal if someone were to look in. Your hands are steady, but something under your skin feels unsure. Your breathing isn't shallow, but it's wrong. Off. You cough again. This time, it doesn't leave your lungs as easily. Warm. You wrap yourself in your blanket and stare at the walls, listening for morning bells or carts outside. You hear none. Just wind and footsteps. The fire no longer feels warm to you. You think maybe it's just weakness. You haven't eaten properly in days. You're probably just exhausted, maybe too warm. But the fire burned strong last night. You step outside for a moment and hope the wind cools your skin. The streets are quiet. Not even children's footsteps anymore. You make eye contact with no one. Your legs ache. Your neck is stiff. You walk across your small room and cough. Just once. But it echoes too much in the silence. You hold your breath. It was just a little cough. Instead of gathering with the others, you stay hidden. You lie down to rest, but your mind will not disconnect. You run your hands along your arms and neck. There are no lumps. No strange pains, just heaviness like bad sleep. You cough again and listen. No one hears. You sip water. It tastes bitter, but maybe that's in your mind. You don't want to be judged. You don't want to be closed inside. You sweat through your clothes without doing anything. You sleep. You hear someone walking by. You could ask for help. You could tell someone, so you stay quiet. Your chest tightens again. You drink more water. You sit by the fire. The air feels lighter. You stand up straighter. You breathe deeper. And for a moment, you think maybe you were wrong. Then you cough again. And the smile disappears. You don't lie down again. You sit up. You'll wait for tomorrow. Maybe then it will be gone. Maybe then you'll know. Maybe then someone will knock, but until then, you say nothing. You don't know what time it is when you open your eyes. The light creeping in through the gaps in your door hasn't changed in days, always gray, always dull. You sit up slowly. Too quiet, no voices, no coughing. Before the carts stopped rolling by in the morning, now there are no carts. No voices, just homes like shells, full of furniture, but emptied of the people who made it matter. It could be someone tending a fire like you used to. Or it could just be a fire that's still burning because no one was left to put it out. You tell yourself they're alive. Meals no longer eaten. Names no longer spoken aloud because there's no one left to hear them. That you're not the last person here. That someone else is still eating. You see things you've seen before, but they look different now. The broom on your neighbor's step, traveling. Quiet, hidden. Survive as long as you can. But for what? For who? Surely there must be another village, another group, someone still alive, but you've also heard the stories. That the roads are worse, bodies left along the way, villages already burned. That people out there, the ones still breathing, are more dangerous than the plague itself. The wooden spoon still balancing on a bowl by the fire, all untouched. Like people stepped out one day and simply never came back. You only have this, a roof, a little food, dry wood, and silence. Enough to make it through today, breathing, not even the sound of someone moving through mud. The bucket is sitting at the top, full but untouched. Your reflection in the water looks thinner, worn. You splash some on your face and turn away before you see too much. You don't drink it, just for anything. And when the silence confirms there's nothing to hear, you finally sit, then lie down. You don't trust anything that sits still too long. Just wind and a silence so deep it makes your own footsteps sound wrong. The doors you pass are all closed. Some are cracked open, a few are wide open. You don't look too long at any of them, not weeks, not months, just today. The fire has long gone out, but you don't restart it. There's no reason to warm a house for one person. You pull your blanket over your shoulders and step outside. The path is quiet, the chapel is empty, you knew it would be. The doors hang crooked. Inside, the benches are tipped. Candles half melted in broken holders, others are clean. One has a cloth hanging from it, stained with something you don't want to imagine. You walk faster, no sermons, no incense, no light. Whatever used to live in that space is gone. You stand in the doorway for a minute before walking away. You don't even close the door behind you. You pass homes with spoons still on tables, blankets on beds. No sign of struggle, just life abandoned. Some windows are smashed. People said things would recover, said it before the priest left, before the coughing grew worse. You make your way to the well. The graves at the edge of the village look the same, but something's different. The soil is uneven, covered with sticks and broken wood from makeshift markers. Some have rocks. One or two have nothing. You stop counting. You stare into the ground as if it might answer you. It never does. You sit alone and look back at the village. Smoke rises faintly from one chimney. But deep down, you know, maybe not for certain, but enough to feel the weight of it. You wonder if this was what the end was supposed to feel like. Not a scream, not a battle, just doors no longer shutting. You walk back slowly. You pause near your door. You don't go inside right away. You stand there listening. Not for danger. You don't cry? Your tears dried up last week, or was it longer? The days blend together now. You think about leaving. You could stay. You don't have answers. You don't have much strength left. That's been your goal now. One more day. Still breathing. Still here. It's been days since you heard a voice that wasn't your own. You haven't spoken, not really. Just whispered things into the fire or mouthed words in your sleep. At some point, the need to say anything vanished. Sound became pointless when no one was left to hear it. You mark time by simple things now. When the candle runs out. When your second cloak runs out of warmth. When the dry wood gives its last snapping crack in the hearth. You don't know what day it is. And you've stopped pretending that matters. You ration your food in meaningless portions. Not for survival, just to keep some pattern alive, half a root. A pinch of grain, a piece of bread that's already turned tough. You taste nothing, but the motions help. You need the motions. Sometimes you stare at the trees beyond the edge of the village. They used to mean something else. Beauty, boundaries, background. Now they mean questions. What's beyond them? What if someone else survived out there? What if the sickness left others too, waiting like you are? Or worse, what if it didn't? You think about packing, not planning, packing, quietly gathering the food that's still edible. A knife, a coat, your good boots, a clay flask, wrapping it all carefully in cloth and sitting by the doorway. Watching the sky, waiting for a sign, but there's no sign, there never is. Only clouds, wind, smoke from abandoned hearths that still haven't died out completely, and silence. You step outside and walk further than usual. Not far, just to test what the world feels like. The air is heavy, but not sick. There's no smell of rot. No sounds of breathing behind woodsheds or under blankets. You pause at the edge of the village. 1 foot past where the familiar dirt path fades into tall grass and trees. You're still afraid. Not of catching the plague. That fear is smaller now. You're afraid of what's next, because what if nobody survived? And you walk for miles into nothing? What if what's left of the world is worse than this? At least here you know the quiet. You've made peace with the ghosts of this place. You know which houses are safe, which sounds are yours. You've carved out survival, even if it's not living. But still, there's a part of you smaller than your fear, but louder, that whispers, you weren't meant to be the last voice here. You stare down the road, the same road that traders once walked, that travelers came from before everything fell quiet. It's just a line of broken footprints now, patched with puddles and weeds. You could take that road, you could see what's left. Find people, or proof that there are none, and somehow both feel frightening. You return to your house before sunset. You sit by the window, staring out like someone watching for a rider who never shows. Inside, your bag is ready. Everything packed, light, quiet, just enough, not too much. You haven't decided yet, not really. You just didn't want to be unprepared if your legs move without your mind catching up. You sleep poorly that night, your dreams are jumbled. Bits of memory, hunger, fire. You hear voices, old ones, but they're never clear. And then morning comes. Slowly, the sun hits the edge of your wall the way it always does, only this time. You stand up, steady, in silence. You walk to the fire. You eat. You drink. You tie your cloak. You lace your boots. You pick up the bundle. You don't think about courage or wisdom or fate. You just step to the doorway and breathe the morning air. Then step outside. Then take 1 step toward the edge of the village, then another, and another. You look back just once. You see everything you've known for the past year, ash, silence, the home that held your waiting. And then you turn forward, onto a road you haven't walked since everything changed. It doesn't feel right, it doesn't feel wrong, it just feels ... necessary. You don't know how far you've walked. The road behind you has felt longer than it should, but you never counted the steps. You only stopped once, for water, or maybe rest. Your legs move now without much thought. You've left behind ashes, quiet houses, doors swinging in the wind, but they didn't follow you. Nothing did. The land around the path is quiet, hills to one side, trees to the other, the sky is heavy. The kind of gray that dose and tea tell you the hour, just that the sun hasn't bothered to shine for a while. You keep walking. Every part of you says to turn back, not in words, just in that feeling. That tug in your chest that says, there's nothing ahead, go home. But there's nothing behind either. Not anymore. So you go forward because there's no reason not to. And maybe that's reason enough. You pass an overturned cart on the side of the road. Dry grass has grown through its wheels. A broken doll lies nearby. Wooden, weathered, missing one arm. You don't stop to pick it up, but you remember it. It lingers. Up ahead, you spot an old shrine. Just stones and sticks bound with twine. A few rotted apples at the base. Probably placed long ago. A prayer someone offered before they vanished. You wonder if it worked. There's something strange about moving through the empty world. You expect noise, but it's your own breath. Your boots in the dirt, a crow's wings, nothing more. Then something changes. Not in the sky, not in the land, but in the wind. It's carrying something, not a voice, not smoke. You can't explain it. But it says, not empty. You slow your steps. Around the bend, the road curves down toward a low clearing. There's structure at the bottom, wood, maybe clay, some kind of shelter, not burnt, not collapsed, a roof still standing, a window half open. You crouch behind a tree. You wait. Longer than necessary, listening for movement, for sound, for life, and then smoke, just a puff, soft, rising from the roof, and then a low sound, A pot clattering. Something falling indoors. Someone is there. Your heart starts racing, but not from fear. Something else. Maybe the memory of what it was like to be near another voice. Another person, another human. You walk closer, slow and careful. You knock. Nothing. You knock again. Still nothing. You grip the edge of the doorframe and lean in. Inside, it's dark and small but full. There's no sickness here, no smell of death. Just thick stew boiling, a tiny fire, and a pile of apples in the corner. A real meal. Then a sound behind you. You turn quick, but slowly, as if afraid to move too fast might make this moment disappear. A person stands there, arms crossed, scarf across their face, hair tied back in a wrap, worn clothes, good boots. Their eyes study you, not soft, not angry, just tired. You say nothing. They say nothing. Then quietly, as if choosing each word, they ask, "Are you alone?" You nod, then whisper, "You?" They nod too. You both stand in that moment for longer than necessary. Two ghosts staring at each other, two hearts still beating. They walk past you quietly, enter the small shelter, and motion toward the stew. You follow without speaking. You close the door behind you. You eat in silence that isn't heavy, just silence shared. No talk of where you came from, no talk of where you're going. Not yet. But something has shifted, because you're not the last one. And for now, that's enough.